Significant is it that we are seeing this announcement on state media?
State media, and also it's the national state-run newspaper, which is seen by the domestic public as well. So they are making by far the most official announcement about the COVID-19 outbreak, and it's the first that they are confirming that there is a case in North Korea, and it's not just North Korea; it's in Pyongyang, the capital city, where the leader is, and they're referring to the virus as the stealth Omicron variant. And it seems that there were multiple people in Pyongyang who were infected by the virus, and so far we do not know how many people exactly. But it's significant in that, first of all, they don't have any vaccines administered in the country, and they have a very fragile medical infrastructure throughout the country.
Yeah, gentlemen, even state media are describing this as a grave emergency, and given how hard it is to find out what is actually happening in the country, we can only imagine right now. But what tools do they have to fight COVID?
For one, they do have a cold chain system that if they do administer vaccines like AstraZeneca, they can use the existing cold chain system that they used for other epidemics in the past to vaccinate some part of the population. But when it comes to mRNA vaccines like Pfizer, it will be much more difficult for them to prepare it. And the hospitals outside the country's capital, they are very they're poorly managed, and it would be very difficult for them to handle if this becomes a widespread infection across the country.
And what kind of lockdown has been announced? How strict will it be?
So it's not anything too similar with China, like people being stuck in their houses. It seems that Kim Jong-un, interestingly, still wants that the country's anti-epidemic measure doesn't go against the country's economic and construction goals. So it seems that it's basically the blocking between different economic units and production units, and between different regions. They cannot move between, and the goods cannot probably be transferred between different units, but people can basically continue their daily work on production. But essentially, if the goods start not going to the places where they have to be, things like consumption goods, the consumer goods, it will be very difficult for them to manage the initial goals that they had at a national level.
We've just seen pictures of Kim Jong-un wearing a mask for, I think, the first time on state media, which also feels like quite a significant moment. But Beijing also saying today they're prepared to aid North Korea. What kind of help do you think North Korea would accept at this point?
Honestly, I'm not sure, because when Chinese Sinovac was offered to North Korea, they politely rejected it, saying that they would rather have other countries who need the vaccine more to have the Sinovac. So they basically rejected it. But I imagine that there could be some help in the curing the already infected patients as well, if China is willing to do that. But so far, China's response was very generic, in line with what they have been saying so far in the past few years.
John and Kim, thank you very much for joining us with that from Seoul. A grave emergency, according to North Korean state media. Here in London.